Well, hello, friends. It's Nina Marie here with you. And I want to know, are you ready to start making some fun Valentine's projects? Because I have a great DIY tutorial to share with you today that requires no special dies. All you need are some fun stamp shapes. And in this case, I'm going to be using our Simon Says Stamp Light Me Up set. I'll also be pairing some other products from our brand new Love You release, which will help me decorate my adorable little treat bags that are created with the jar that's in this particular set. Now, you could do this exact same technique with other similar shapes and images from your other stamp sets. You want something that's a decent size that's going to be able to hold some candy and fun treats. But if you have an image like this jar, or perhaps you have this set in particular, you can create these treat bags and adapt this to anything that might work as an alternative. All right, so let's first talk about the stamp set. So this is the stamp set that we're going to be using today, and I've already pre-stamped and colored jars so that way you can see where we're going with this project. You'll also notice that I've tied these together with some twine and that the bag itself is made up of 2 die cuts of the jar, and we have a piece of paper that's creating the side walls of our treat bag. Super simple, and I'm going to walk you through all the steps to do this. So first you're going to want to stamp your jar, and I've stamped it once onto Nina white cardstock so I can Copic color these in. Now you could also fill your jar with some other stamped images. I'll show you an example here where I'm going to stamp one of the light bulbs from the Light Me Up set. Then once you have all your stamping done, it's time to color. I chose to use Copic markers to color these in. However, you could use watercolors, you could ink blend over these jars, whatever you want to do. You could decorate these however you'd like. The technique that I really want to share with you is how to build the treat bag. So, like I said, I used Copic markers to color in my jars. I did very simple shading on the jars, and I made sure to leave a white highlight in the center so the jar looks as if it's clear. This helps give it a more translucent look if you have a big giant white area to help give that transparency effect. All right, so now we're coming up on another big step, and that is die cutting. Now you can just die cut the jars, and I'll show you an example of that, or you could die cut the jar and a window so that you can see inside your treat bag. So I'm going to do that on some of my jars. So in this particular case, I'm using the coordinating jar die and also one of the heart dies that's in the Light Me Up set. So some of my jars, I will have die cut heart windows cut out of them. And then others, like this light bulb, this will not have any window, and instead it'll be just a solid bag. Now another important piece you need is a second die cut of that jar, or whatever shape you're making your bag from. This is so that you can create the front and back of your bag. Now the next thing we need is a piece of cardstock to create the sidewalls. I found that a 6.5 by 1 inch piece of cardstock was the perfect size for my bag. So putting my cardstock strip in lengthwise onto my scoring board, I'm going to score a score line at 1/4 of an inch on either side of this strip of cardstock. Then we're going to rotate it so that we can add some score lines across the entire 6.5 inch length. So this is going to help me score and fold the side walls for my bag. Now on my bag, I'm scoring at 2.25 and 4.25. This is going to have 2.25 inch lengths on either side, and then a slightly shorter length in the middle. This worked perfectly for this size jar. So if you're making this exact same bag, you'll want to follow these measurements. Next up, we need to fold these score lines. So we're going to fold lengthwise first. And we're going to make sure we give these a really nice crease with our bone folder so that way they have a really nice crisp fold. This will help your bag hold together and stand up straighter. So we'll fold on both of those lengthwise score lines. And then that's going to leave you with a piece here that looks kind of like a really long set of staples. Now we need to unfold this and fold on the shorter score lines that we created. So we'll fold those 2 score lines so that we have this upside down U shape. Now this step is super important but very easy. In order for our side walls to fold together nicely on our jars, I found that the best way to do this was to create little notches. Basically, we're going to cut out a triangle right down the middle of each of those score lines. and we're only cutting to the next score line. So you can see here, I'm just creating random triangles. I am not making this exact. This does not need to be perfect. This is just going to help our side walls fold together and lay nicely on our jar. So basically, this looks like a strip of tickets. So now we're going to unfold this again completely, and we're going to add adhesive to the side walls. Now you only want to add adhesive on the 1/4 inch spaces that we created when we scored lengthwise down our strip. This long set of 1/4 inch score lines, these are what's going to adhere to our jar to make the sidewalls. Now if you did cut a window into your jar, you're also going to want to put either a piece of vellum or acetate over top of the window so that way none of the candy falls out. So I'm using both a combination of vellum and acetate across my jars. So in this particular example, I'm using the acetate. And I really loved the look of both the acetate and the vellum. On my vellum, I actually colored it with Copic markers in a pink shade so that they had a pink glow to them. So our jar is ready to be assembled. So now we have our side walls, and we're going to assemble this onto the plain die cut first. So I'm just going to form this into a nice squared shape and making sure I press down on the adhesive to sandwich it down onto that jar. And then I found the easiest way to line up the other piece was to set it up on my desk so that both the front jar and the back jar were evenly lined up across those side walls. And of course, that double-sided adhesive is holding everything down. I also am going to go back through those side walls and press down on the adhesive tabs just to make sure that they get pressed down really well onto our paper. And here you can see how our treat bag came together. I mean, this is so cute and literally so simple. Now, the best part is that you get to decorate it with whatever you want. So I used a combination of our Simon Says stamp Light Me Up images. I added some of these cute little fireflies onto one of my jars here with a sentiment. On another one, I added some cute die cut hearts along with a greeting from the Light Me Up set. And I even embellished the light bulb with a little bit of glossy accents for that nice shiny glow on the bulb. Another idea for you is to use some florals. I love florals for Valentine's Day. And so I used the new You Have My Heart stamp, and I Copic colored some of the flower clusters and die cut them with that same jar die cut that I used to cut, of course, our jars. And this really adds some beautiful finishing touches to this jar. If butterflies are more your thing, our Butterfly Kisses stamp set, which is also part of the Love You release, that looks so pretty on this jar also. I paired that with some blue stamped butterflies for the background. So pretty. We are almost done with this project, but of course the last thing we need to do is add a tie. Now you could close this with maybe some double-sided tape, you could staple it shut, or I'm going to punch a little hole through both sides of my jar here. You could use a craft pick or crocodile, whatever you've got, and I'm just going to feed some twine through there. But before I tie it shut, I of course will fill it with some candies. I had some nonpareils, dark chocolate raisins, and even some Good and Plenty for that fun pink and white color combination for Valentine's Day. So I filled all of my treat bags with some fun candies, and I'll tie them shut with my twine. Now my treat bags are ready to go for Valentine's Day. I can give these to some of my special friends and loved ones, and I think these are so much fun. You can see the combinations that I created here, whether it was with florals, the Light Me Up set with those cute light bulbs and fireflies, or even some butterflies. You could decorate these jars with whatever you want. And like I said, you could also adapt this technique to work with other stamped images that you might already have in your stash. Just make sure they're big enough to be able to hold some candy and you are good to go. So I hope that today's video has inspired you to look at your stamp sets in a whole new way and create some cute little DIY treat bags. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to our channel for additional inspiration, and I will see you again very soon with more to share. Bye!